Picture this. You are getting older. It is happening as you watch this. Quietly, invisibly. Every second, your body drifts a little further from what it was, and you probably don't think about it much, because in your world, growing old is normal, expected, protected even. But for most of human history, it wasn't. For most of human history, growing old was the most dangerous thing you could do. Imagine you are an ancient human. You have survived everything. The hunts, the winters, the sickness that took half the people you loved. You made it. You are old now, maybe 45, maybe 50, ancient by the standards of your world, and you notice something strange. People look at you differently, not with respect, not always, sometimes with calculation. Because in a world where every mouth must earn its food, you have become a question. A question your family is quietly asking themselves. How much longer can we carry you? Across the ancient world, different peoples answered that question in different ways, and some of those answers are hard to hear. In Japanese folklore, there are stories of a practice called ubasute, literally, abandoning an old woman. The legends describe sons carrying their own elderly mothers up a mountain during times of famine and leaving them there, alone, to die of cold and hunger. One peak became so tied to these stories, it was named Ubasute Yama, the abandonment mountain. Now, scholars still debate whether Ubasute was real or a cautionary legend. But here is what matters. The story existed because the fear was real. Real enough that entire cultures told it, generation after generation, as a warning. And in other places, it wasn't just a story. In 1889, the explorer Harry Johnston reported that in ancient Sardinia, killing your elderly relatives was considered a sacred duty. Not a crime, a duty. Historical accounts describe the Bactrians, in what is now northern Afghanistan, giving their old and sick to dogs. It's believed the Norse told sagas of elders leaping from cliffs willingly, so their families wouldn't have to feed them through another winter. The sagas framed it as heroic, as honor, and among some Inuit communities, researchers have documented that during the worst famines, an elderly person might ask a family member to end their life, and the person asked was expected to comply. Not out of cruelty, out of love. Sit with that for a second. So why? Why would humans, the same humans who invented family, who buried their dead with flowers, who carried injured relatives for years, why would they do this? The answer is brutal in its simplicity. Scarcity. In the ancient world, food was not a guarantee. It was a gamble that reset every single day. Anthropologists who study these practices point out that senicide, the killing or abandonment of the elderly, appears almost exclusively in societies under extreme resource pressure. Nomadic groups, Arctic peoples, communities where a single bad season meant everyone starved. In those conditions, the math became monstrous. An elder who could no longer hunt, no longer gather, no longer keep up with the group. Their survival could cost the survival of a child, of the whole family. And so the unthinkable became thinkable. But notice something. Even then, humans couldn't just do it. They had to wrap it in ritual, in sacred duty, in legends of willing sacrifice and honorable cliffs. Because some part of them knew. Some part of them always knew it was a wound. Here is the scene that stays with me. A son walking up a mountain path, his mother on his back, the way he once rode on hers. In the old Japanese tale, as he climbs, his mother reaches out and snaps small branches along the trail. He asks her why. "So you can find your way home," she says. She is being carried to her death. And her last thought, her final act in this world, is making sure her son gets home safely. The tale was told to inspire devotion to parents, to shame people out of abandonment. And it worked because everyone who heard it felt the same thing you're feeling right now, that no amount of scarcity makes that walk okay. Here is the part of the story nobody expects. Humans changed the math. Slowly, over thousands of years, we built something no other species ever built. Surplus, agriculture, stored grain, medicine, villages that could carry their weak through the winter. And the moment we could afford our elders, we kept them. More than kept them. Some researchers suggest that grandparents became one of humanity's secret weapons. Elders carried knowledge no one else had. Where the water was in a drought year, which plants healed and which ones killed. What their grandparents' famine had taught them. It's believed that groups with living elders survived crises that wiped out groups without them. The elderly stopped being a cost. They became a library. So the next time you see someone old, slow in the crosswalk, quiet in the corner of a family gathering, remember what they represent. They are proof. Proof that we won. That after 100,000 years of monstrous math, humans finally built a world where growing old is not a death sentence. Where the walk up the mountain became a story we tell instead of a thing we do. But that world is not automatic. It is not guaranteed. It is a choice that every generation makes again. Because the scarcity is gone. The question isn't, how much longer can we carry you? Every society still answers it. In its hospitals, in its nursing homes, in how it treats the people who built it and grew slow. The ancient world answered with a mountain. What will we answer with?